I'm my honest feeling is that he's faking this whole thing, making it seem like it was a live broadcast, and he's just making up names. He's like, yeah, Chad. Shout out to Chad in the chat room. He just picks out random like white boy names. But let's just listen.
You can make between 5 to 7 figures easily. Now I'm looking in the chat. We have a good amount of audience in there. Press number 2 if you like to make 6 figures on autopilot selling beats online. All right, Chad, I see you.
I can tell by the look on your face you're ready to have fun. What's going down? It's the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. This is, I believe, it's episode 104. I'm feeling good about the podcast. I think we're on a roll. Shout out to everyone tuning in, especially with the recent episodes with Tony Remedy, R.A. the Rugged Man, and then a lot of our topics lately have been getting some feedback. I don't always say good feedback. We get a lot of feedback, positive feedback on the YouTube. So shout out to the YouTube people, and then mixed feedback on the Instagram. Shout out to them as well. How are you feeling, Dan?
Yeah, and feedback is great. I don't think that everybody should always agree with us. Sometimes we don't agree with each other, but hopefully it's well thought out feedback. Hopefully you have an opinion that is, at least dipped in some experience or some research. Hopefully you're not just somebody random and, just not successful and it's angry. And that's where the motivation to respond comes from. Hopefully we're elevating the level of discussions about creating a business in the music industry. And yeah, sometimes the random rant comments are funny, but it's really not constructive. So hopefully that's what people think our dialogue is. And if it's not, then you're probably not listening to us anyway. But I appreciate the feedback, and most of the feedback has been positive. So the people that do comment, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'm feeling good about the sessions too. Every Monday and every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're live on BeatStars.live. And actually what you just spoke on is kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I hate to talk about negative things, but
but we do it all the time.
We do it all the time with the goal of turning it into some kind of lesson or some kind of experiential conversation about what we think or what we went through if it was negative, what we're seeing if it's negative, how we think folks watching can avoid that negative pitfall. And I especially recently, especially with a lot of and I think I've been posting really encouraging, inspiring content, not tooting my own horn or anything. I'm talking about the guests that I've been having on the MEC sessions, because I'm not going to bring a producer on just to depress everybody. One of the least depressing producers in the community is Mini Producer, and I interviewed him 2 weeks ago, and then I had Dilly Got a Bump in, also a happy, motivational, inspirational guy. Both of their stories are amazing. But in response, I'm not going to say which interview it was. People who watch my channel know. I posted an interview during which a producer casually mentioned making 5 to 10 beats a day. That, and it's an interview. They're supposed to talk about their process. They're supposed to talk about their output. That triggered a lot of people to leave negative comments, ranging from stop bragging about being able to make 5 to 10 trash beats a day, or anybody can do that. That's not very impressive. Or if you use loops, you're trash, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's weird to me to minimize or react negatively to something somebody else says when they're simply talking about their process. If you asked me, Dame, hey, what's your workout process? And I said, well, to start with, I wake up every morning and do 100 push-ups, which I do. And your reply is, you're lying, or 100 push-ups is nothing, or I bet your form is trash. It does nothing but make you look negative, because why even fix your face to say something like that? You're not being attacked by me answering a question or talking about my process. So where does the defensive come in? And my honest belief is And this is where the lesson comes in. And I certainly had to learn this for myself. So I feel like this is true. You can tell me what you think, Dave. I believe that negativity is weakness. It makes us vulnerable. It feels like we're defending ourselves. It feels like we're insulating ourselves in this kind of impressive, reactive wall that we build around our minds or our personas or our egos or whatever. But really, I think it leaves us extremely vulnerable. I think being positive and being hopeful, no matter how foreign it might feel to us, no matter how, a lot of us were raised or were grown up or were demonstrated this idea that being happy and positive is weakness and vulnerability and foolishness. And I would say the opposite is actually true. I don't know how you feel about that, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, most people that weigh in like that are just not happy with how their life or career is going. Like, I've never met anybody that left those type of comments that was like killing it and that had healthy relationships, and that was just, because most people that are in that position don't have the time to leave comments like that, or not even thinking about leaving comments like that. And some of the things that people are proud about that they're sharing, making 5 to 10 beats a day. Yeah, somebody might be able to do it. Number one, I do think that's impressive. But the consistency, like if somebody continues to make 5 to 10 beats a day over the course of a year, like every single day, like that's amazing to me, because the consistency is where things really get tough. So there might be a lot of producers that might be able to push themselves to make 5 beats in a day, but can you do it for a whole week? Can you do it for a whole month? And that's where the learning comes in. That's, the consistency is what is impressive for me. So I do think that's impressive. And people will always be like, yeah, I can do that. They can say it, but they're not going to do it. Even people knew I was going to put 1 week notice into this episode, but even with 1 week notice, like people will say, oh, that's whatever. That's not that great of a concept. We could have done that. All right, we'll do it. Like there's a shitload of work that goes into, setting up a week experience like the week that we put together to have artists come through and to create, an album in a week. That doesn't sound that impressive, because even with 1 week notice, there were some comments when we announced it. Oh, we did this in a weekend. Oh, we can do this in a day. Like, that's cool. Do it. Like, I'm not worried.
No, that's me being negative, but there's no way. There has to be planning. There has to be.
Yeah, there's levels. Like, there's levels to how we did it, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had great partners on board. We had great people in every single role. We had you and Dream Life as the producers. We had my friend who's an award-winning filmmaker be responsible for the documentary. We had people that were super experienced shooting the documentary. She directed it. There were probably 25 plus people involved, probably more than 25. There's probably 25 plus people involved in the experience. So, and I don't even care if you can do it. I'm not saying, and I never said, hey, nobody else can do this. Like, we actually did it with the intent of inspiring people to do something similar. I hope you can replicate it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. I think we did a top-notch job. But do it. Like, I want to see more people collaborate. I when we do stuff, I want to see people emulate it. So
that's key though. That's key. Because there are really, somebody talking about their process, whether it's you talking about the process of putting an entire album together in 1 week with all of these various moving parts, or an individual talking about making 5 to 10 beats a day. That's just them discussing a process. It's a neutral statement. That's why there's the workout analogy. Like me saying I do 100 push-ups in the morning. Who cares? It's just something I do. It's a neutral statement because I wake up and I do it, and that's just what I do. You put an album together in a week, That's what you wanted to do. That's what you do. Whatever mini producer who is just a dope person makes 5 to 10 beats a day. He said it had to do with his autism and this and that and whatever. That's just how it is for that individual producer. It's a neutral statement. It's not bragging. It's not negative. It's not cutting somebody else down. It's not even challenging people. The people listening to that statement choose based on their mindset on how to react. They choose how to react. They choose what kind of energy to put forth as a reaction. Some people would look at it and say, that's interesting. Some people would look at it, and a lot of people did, and say, that inspires me. If mini producer can do it, I should challenge myself. Some people look at it and say, no, man, fuck that shit. Trash ass beats. These reactions are a reflection of the individual's state of mind. If you're in a motivated state of mind or a healthy state of mind, you might look at it as a challenge or friendly competition or inspiration. There's no way you're happy and excited and motivated and passionate about music and you see somebody say, hey, I make a lot of music, and you react by saying, nah, that's trash, fuck all that shit. There's just no way. It doesn't add up. Me, I'm not making 5 to 10 beats a day. I'm sorry. I know if Tundra Beats it makes that many beats, mini producer makes that many beats, I'm not there. I can't do it. I would maybe make 2 to 3 a day. That works for me. But if somebody says I'm going to make 5 to 10 beats, so that's my process, great. My reaction to that was, oh, if you're making that many beats a day, let's collaborate on some of them. I'm not angry about it.
Yeah. But on the flip side, like, talk your shit. Like, if you're proud about something that you do, like, even if I'm not saying, be out there like super arrogant and showing off, but like in this industry, sometimes you have to be louder about your wins. Like, you have to be louder about your wins. You have to let people know who you are, let people know what you're doing. If you're doing something great and you're bragging about it, I don't care. Like, I think that's dope. I'm still going to get inspired and motivated by your success. In this industry, you have to be sometimes louder about your wins. And that's something that I regret a little bit with Funk Volume. Actually, I don't regret it, because that's how we wanted to move, because I thought that Funk Volume was going to be around forever. But like, we didn't boast about our success. We didn't, let people know how much money we were making. We didn't let people know how successful Funk Volume was. Had I done that to the like the wider industry, it probably would have made it easier for me individually to transition into something else when Funk Volume died, right? Because if more people knew in the industry how we were really moving, it would have just given me more opportunities. Like, more people would have reached out to me to be like, okay, I know that Funk Volume crashed and burned, but obviously you have a skill set, you have experience that we value. Here is a label at, a label at Interscope. You want to run this? Like, I know that I would have just been presented way more opportunities if I would have put our wins on the table and been louder about it. Do I completely regret it? No, because I loved how we moved. I loved, just the focus being the music and the fans. But again, it probably could have opened up other opportunities if I was a little louder about the success of Funk Volume. So, if you're doing something great, let people know about it. I mean, that's how, your brand builds. That's how you get more fans. How you're loud about it, it depends on how you really want to present yourself. But I think Russ letting everybody know at every turn that he produced all his beats, mixed and mastered all his beats, did everything. That was big for his brand, and it annoyed some people. But even that annoying people made people want to comment and tell him to shut up. And then his fans would comment and say, well, you shut up. And then all of a sudden you have a billion more comments than you would have in the first place. So, be proud about your success and, let people know. That would be my advice.
Well, you said something important in both the Funk Volume and the Russ examples, in that you said, talk your shit about what you're doing. And talking about what you're doing or what you have done is one thing. Talking about what others are doing or what you're going to do, that's another thing. And I hope people don't waste time doing that. But that being said, I want to talk about why, and we're going to see a familiar face, why negativity is vulnerability. Because a lot of people posture themselves as being these tough, impenetrable, chest puffed out ass type people where, they don't give a fuck about anybody's work ethic. They don't care about everybody's trash to them. Everything everyone says is trash. They know what's best for them, and they're not succeeding, so they're angry about it. And I think, that opens us up for a very specific kind of exploitation. Dame, you remember KE, our good friend KE?
You're a good friend. I've
Friend
never
of the
met the guy.
podcast.
I've never. He's hilarious. I've never spoke to him. Don't know who he is personally, but he seems like a hilarious guy. So you're bringing him back.
I'm bringing him back because he has a new ad. Someone told me about it, and now I'm starting to see it all the time. And I've tried to film some of it with my phone. It was going fast, so I didn't get the part where at the beginning he basically said selling beats online is dead. The old way doesn't work. Beat stores don't work. Beat stars doesn't work. This and that. YouTube doesn't work, which should already raise some eyebrows. But
it does work. Basically.
Well, that's my point. That's like when I see the diet ads or the certain fitness ads where it's like, do you think running on the treadmill is going to get you to lose weight? I'm like, yeah, duh, of course it is. That's what I did. It worked for me, so you can't tell me it doesn't work if it. I had experience. So anyway, here's part of his brilliant ad. I think let me tell you what's hilarious, and you tell me if you see this. I'm my honest feeling is that he's faking this whole thing, making it seem like it was a live broadcast, and he's just making up names. He's like, yeah, Chad. Shout out to Chad in the chat room. He just picks out random like white boy names. But let's just listen.
You can make between 5 to 7 figures easily. Now I'm looking in the chat. We have a good amount of audience in there. Press number 2 if you like to make 6 figures on autopilot selling beats online. All right, Chad, I see you. Okay. All right, Fred, I see you. All right, all of y'all are pressing 2. Great. So I want to be 100% honest moving forward.
I love how he says, I want to be 100% honest moving forward, because what he just said was probably not true, which is that there are people in the chat, because I don't think that chat ever happened.
In this webinar, the secrets I'm about to show you will not make you rich overnight. And anything that will promise you overnight riches is almost 100% a scam.
I agree with that.
So no, I'm not promising you that you'll get rich overnight. But what I am promising you is if you copy my exact methods step by step, that you can make money fast. So if you're interested in getting further.
So that seems like
not overnight, but fast.
Yeah. What does that mean? So this is the last time we saw KE. He was lying to rappers. He was lying to, and I'm not equivocating. What he was saying was an absolute undeniable lie, which was that you'll get sued for using type beats, and here are my type beats. And it was just this ridiculous statement or series of statements. But now he's honing in on on producers instead of rappers. So these ads are targeting producers. If you're not already skeptical about this particular person based on what others have said about him, the customers who allege that he scammed them, that's a little weird already. Or, people like me showing screenshots of him spamming me saying, I want to be your producer. I checked out your music. Definitely a lie. Again, it just there are these undeniable lies. I'm not a rapper. You didn't check out my music. You don't want to sell me beats. I'm a producer. I'm your competition. I am not your customer. So lies. But you definitely should be skeptical of anyone telling you that a method that thousands of people are using doesn't work. You should be skeptical anytime someone says this. Anytime someone comes out and says, either my method is the best or all these other methods don't work, that should trigger red flags, because people who speak in absolutes are probably not representing the situation correctly. What I mean to say
And
is,
and sorry to cut you off,
yeah,
Payne, but if you're on the fence about, producers on BeatStars, just follow BeatStars on Twitter, or I'm sure just like click some of the BeatStars hashtags on Twitter, and people are showing their receipts of beats being sold
yeah.
and saying, "Wow, thank you, BeatStars. I've just sold my first beat." Or, "Wow, I just woke up to these notifications." It's happening all the time. So I'm gonna believe what I'm seeing on Twitter, and obviously not just one time. We're seeing this pretty much daily, or hourly, or I would believe that over somebody's ClickFunnels video. That's just me, though.
Yeah, and that's not to say KE's obviously making money, but it's not because of his music. It's because of his marketing techniques, which that's what we're talking about right now. Yeah, and I interview producers every week that are using traditional methods of selling beats to make 6 figures a year. KE's saying it just doesn't work, and that's a red flag. And people will say, and you'll see this all the time. It doesn't matter what the industry is, whether it's these financial gurus, whether it's fitness, whether it's marketing, beat selling, whatever. They'll say this method doesn't work, and then they'll try to sell you another method, which should be another red flag. I'm never going to come out and say this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'm going to say this is what does work, and I'm going to try to present as many different workable, viable options to people, because I've had people on that don't use YouTube. I've had people on talk about how YouTube works for their beat business. I've had people come on and talk about TikTok or Spotify, whatever. There are a lot of different pathways. So I'm never going to say that this one doesn't work. This one doesn't work. I don't know.
Well, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't work? Like, I don't see there's nothing. If something just doesn't work, I don't see any problem. But I do see a problem with just putting down another method to boost up yours. If other methods are working.
Well, I've
Obviously.
said stuff like, spamming producers. This is what's funny too. I made such a controversial statement. I said, and I wanted to, maybe we can talk about this next Thursday, because this was just kind of weird to me. When I made the statement that trying to sell beats to other beat makers doesn't work, which I believe it doesn't work. Intuitively, that doesn't make sense. People were like, well, have you tried it? Or like, you can't knock the hustle. And it's just like, where did we get to this point where we're justifying clearly flawed methods? And rather than look at the methods and examine them and criticize them in a constructive way, we would rather just celebrate the mistakes. So I agree with you, but in this case, it's a little more clear cut. And so I clicked on KE's ad because it said something like, watch this free, training video or something. That was the free training video. At the end of it, you don't really learn anything. All you learn is that you should buy his course to explain how to sell beats. Now, guess how much the course costs?
Hold on. Probably, I'm going with $599.97.
Close. You're like $100. No, $200 off. It's $397. Which, is a lot, especially if you're not selling beats to begin with. Now, you could get a free BeatStars account, for example, and upload 10 beats and get started that way. Or if you got the top tier BeatStars membership, just as a example, it's $217 cheaper. And, Dame, you and I are on twice a week with our free music business mentorship program, the MEC. And then BeatStars also hosts several other free sessions per week. They offer opportunities to the public, not even just BeatStars members. So even if you're not a member, you can still take advantage of these free sessions. But I think this is how I want to tie it all together. I don't want to just turn it into a commercial for BeatStars. I think what really drives KE's ad is negative energy. Every ad that I've seen of his has been fueled by negativity, and that's honestly smart, even though it's harmful. But it's smart because he sees that there's so much negativity in the producer community, and it's because, in my opinion, people are frustrated and they feel like they should be making more money off their beats. So when you come along and when KE comes along and says all these people making money are full of shit, look at all the people, look at the people over here. Look at Mini Producer talking about making 5 to 10 beats a day. Look at DJ Payne One over there trying to be inspirational and post these stupid inspirational quotes. Look at Rock T being all positive. Fuck all that shit. Come over here, be angry with me because that shit doesn't work. Let's make some real money. That catches their attention because it's an anti-stance. It's a negative stance. It's not a positive stance. It's not saying, look at these people doing well. Let's link with them. Let's collaborate with them. I'm going to show you how they do it. It's the opposite of that. It's not community minded. It's antisocial. It's about separating yourself from other successful producers by saying their method doesn't work. It won't work for you either. Don't trust them. Instead, trust me. And you got to pay a lot for that trust. So if you're already in that negative state of mind where you're receptive to, because you already believe that everybody that's being positive and happy is a liar, they're lying to you, blah, blah, blah. They're not seeing the success that they claim they are, then this is going to be appealing to you. It's going to be appealing because, one, it promises you to make money fast. And two, the whole premise of this service or this system or whatever is anti whatever has already annoyed you about the producer community, which is that other people are successful and you're not. So this is just kind of another example of negativity being toxic. And I know it's not easy to shake that level of negativity if you're in that state. I've definitely been in that state of negativity in my life. Everything in my life was touched by that negativity in my brain. But if you can, at very least, start to look at yourself and consider whether or not that negativity that you feel is creating positive outcomes in your life, I think that's at least a start, because you'll start to see that, no, this being negative, being an asshole all the time, shitting on everybody is not actually helping me. It's not. And once you figure that out, hopefully you start to make some changes, but it's up to the individual.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just haven't really seen anybody that's actually moving do that kind of stuff. Maybe with the exception of 50 Cent or somebody like that, which is kind of part of his brand to talk shit and troll a little bit. But you're probably not 50 Cent. So, you're probably just not happy with how your situation is going, and hating on other people is not going to help you get to where you want to be. So I would suggest you stop doing that. It's not productive. But briefly, I know we're running late now. For people that don't know, we do offer one-on-one consultations. We don't promote it much because personally, I feel like you can get a ton of value just attending our Monday and Thursday sessions and listening to the podcast. But for people that want to do one-on-one sessions, you can sign up. The link is in our Instagram bio. But to be better prepared for a consultation, I would probably be at a point where I have some specific questions. You probably want to have some specific questions, and it shouldn't be vague like, hey, I just want more fans, because, the consultations, you could do 15, 30 minutes or 45 minutes. We don't really have enough time to explore like why you're not gaining any fans. I mean, I could take a quick look at your Instagram and some things might pop out, or listen to your music quickly, some things might pop out, but I would already have like a strategy or for how you're releasing music. Everybody should have a system for how they release music. So when you release music, what is like the checklist of things that you do when you release music so that it's consistent from release to release. And, with the system, you might add to it. You might do things a little different. So on this checklist might be like, oh, you send out an email to your email list, or send out a text to your text list. You post on social media, and you might have all of the different social medias on your checklist, and all the different surfaces within the social media. Because like YouTube has YouTube stories, and they have YouTube community, and it has YouTube shorts. So you might want to do something a little different for each one of those services. Likewise, Instagram has Instagram story, reels, all that. So I would probably have a long list of things you do. So maybe that's something we talk about, right? You bring your checklist to the consultation and be like, hey, this is what I do every time we release a song. Let's take a look at it and see if it's something that we can change going forward. But I wanted to make people aware of the consultations, but I want people to get the most out of the consultations if you do book a session with Payne or myself, so that we can hone in on something specific and really take advantage of the time that you book. Because I've been a part of quite a number of consultations where it's just like, hey, I need more fans. And that's a tough conversation to have in such a short amount of time. And I think that if you just attend our weekly sessions, or listen to the podcast, there are some key things that you can learn that we probably say time and time again. One of the big things that I think I see with artists is that they really just don't have their brand tight. The story that they're telling, it's not something compelling yet. I use the analogy of playing a video game. The last video game that I was good at, and this is definitely showing my age, is Street Fighter 2.
You're still good at it.
Yes, I can still play Street Fighter 2. But I look at artists like characters. Would anybody want to, even just looking at you or looking through your Instagram, would anybody want to select you to play the game with? And I'm not saying you have to be, pink hair, you have to have some kind of crazy image, but it has to be solid and it has to be tight, and people have to know what you represent. So people can kind of see themselves in the character that they want to play the game with. So hopefully, maybe that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but hopefully just saying it like that clicks for some, because nobody wants to play the game with a boring ass character that you don't really know much about. You don't really know their story. There's nothing that really connects me with that character. And that's a big part of being successful in the music industry, being able to brand yourself and have a story and a narrative that people can connect with, identify with. So, hopefully that helps. Payne, I don't know. I know you do a number of consultations too. Do you have any advice for people that book a consultation?
Well, R.A. the Rugged Man was just kind of saying what you just said about social media. And I think it's telling when you have somebody from that era. I just appreciate his honesty and how he spoke about his initial reluctance to get on social media. Because you look at a lot of veterans in the game, look at what's happening now with social media and say, I'm not a Cardi B, I'm not a Lil Nas X. And those are two people that he mentioned throughout the conversation. And it's like, yeah, but the reality is people of all ages are on social media, and it's a powerful tool, and giving people your personality and allowing them to fall in love with you as a human first and an artist second is a powerful component of longevity. But in terms of consultations, yeah, I won't book a consultation with somebody unless they send me specific questions or topics. If because a lot of people will contact me and say, I just want to sell more beats, or I want to get placements. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. That it took me years to figure that out. We're doing an hour-long consultation. I'm not here. There's no magic bullet. I would have to spend that hour just kind of looking over what you're doing already and listening to your music and just kind of trying to figure out what you're willing to do. And that would even take more than an hour. So by the time that's over with, you've just wasted all the time. So,
and if you are in that space, like
yeah,
if that's what you want to do, like, hey, I want to sell more beats, or I just want more fans, the first thing I would do would just be follow a lot of people that you look up to that are already doing that, and just soak up the ways in which other people are moving to be successful. Because there's a variety of ways, which Payne talked about in this session, just to sell beats. Like,
yep,
everybody has a different method. Many producer creates 5 to 10 a day, Payne 2 to 3, but they're both successful. There's a lot of different ways. Just follow the people that are doing what you say you want to do and see how they're moving. I wouldn't book a consultation. I would just do that and really, just kind of understand the differences, and, try to pick some things that you might be able to apply to what you're doing.
yeah. Because if you're not selling beats right now, you spending money, on a consultation or on a course or whatever is probably not going to help. It's not going to be any more eye-opening than just going on YouTube or logging onto our free sessions and hearing from successful producers, because that's inspiration. They tell you exactly what they're doing. That's what I love about these conversations we have, in our sessions, where it's just really honest. I'm not going to go up there and say, what do you eat for breakfast? Just stuff that's not necessarily practical. I do ask that question sometimes. I asked it of Mitty because I didn't know how the hell he was making 5 to 10 beats a day. But I get it now. The answer he gave made a lot of sense. But with other producers, with all producers, I ask very straightforward questions. What is your upload schedule like? What is your SEO strategy like? How many beats do you upload? How do you word your emails? How do you title your beats? How do you add thumbnails? What's that process like? How do you optimize your ads if you're running paid ads? So these are free. This isn't something I'm charging for, and you're getting it from top sellers, number one, and you'll see that all of them have certain things in common, but they also have different focal points in their marketing and different strategies. So the more of that you consume, which is totally free, the more you can try different methods. And if one of those methods or 2 or 3 work for you, great, you just got it for free. But if you have really specific questions, I think after putting in a lot of work and trying a lot of different things, that's when it's more beneficial to get a consultation, because you'll have specific questions. If you're just starting out and you're like, I'm not selling beats, how do I sell more beats? That's way too vague of a question. But if you're like, I've been uploading to YouTube for a year, help me optimize my SEO, or I've been making beats for 3-4 years, help me fine tune my mix. What do you hear in my drum mix that you think needs improvement? Those are very specific questions that I can help with. And I assume the same is with you. If someone has, years of data, I've been doing this on Spotify, it's not working. I've been doing this on Instagram. How do I refine it? That's a much better consultation for both of you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, very rarely do I get somebody that says, hey, this is my content strategy. This is how I've been engaging my audience. I've been doing this weekly for 6 months. And this is the results. I'm happy with this, but I'm not happy with that. Like, let's dive into questions like that are more specific about how you're moving. Because a lot of times in these consultations, I feel like I didn't give them enough, or like I didn't, I just feel like I didn't provide them with enough value, even though I probably did, but they could have helped me provide more value by just being a little bit more prepared and more specific with the ask. Because I can't tell you, I can't just tell you in 15 minutes how to get more fans. And to be honest with you, like, there's a part of me that just believes that, some artists have it, that it factor. And I'm not saying if you're not born with it, you can't develop it. but like some artists are just natural in connecting with people, and just capturing people's attention. And, for those artists, like there's nothing I can tell you in a consultation. Like you just have to have it. Like some people just have a natural confidence on camera. And again, you don't necessarily have to be born with it. But I do feel like some people just are just natural, they just have that energy. So yeah, there's a lot of questions that I just can't answer in 15, 45 minutes, however long you book the consultation. So be prepared and, tap into our sessions and learn a few things. And then if you opt for a one-on-one consultation, come with some specific questions.
Yeah, and our consultations cost $397, and you will sell beats fast. Once again, appreciate you tuning in. This is the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast powered by BeatStars. We're live every Monday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just check out beatstars.live. You don't need to be a member. You don't need to sign up for anything. Just tune in. The sessions are free. They're public. Also, if you want to get alerted every time we go live, Dame, what is that number?
All you need to do is text MEC to 844-206-7800. You'll get a text right before we go live. So just in case you forget, as a lot of artists seem to be forgetful people, we help you out with that. And then be on the lookout for 1 week notice. It's the album is currently being mixed and mastered by Jenny, and the documentary is currently being edited so we can get it over to Revolt to premiere next month. But I'm excited to share all the content that we created with you guys because I think it's dope. So hate on it if you want. Leave all the hateful comments if you want. Feel free. I don't care.
Okay, Dame. On that note, till next episode, appreciate you tuning in. Peace.
Peace.